Thank you. Blessings and greetings. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well, sir.
Very good. It is actually a pleasure and an honor. And I am now in actually Portugal, Lisbon, but going to Kinshasa in Congo. And we just had our Forbes Africa Summit, where all the minister and also governors, state governors of Nigeria were with us. So it is a befitting time to have this summit or seminar, webinar on oil and gas. Because of the time, I will only focus on a few different topics. Topic one is more macro, and that is the rise of Africa. I call it the surprise rise of Africa. And there is a promise and good news that the trajectory of Africa's rise will be hyper jumped. We have created the program and the charter called Future Trends Africa Manifesto that is now already created the buzz of Africa First, and has created the buzz that the next phase of finance and economy, number one engine of the world is number one Africa, number two India. No more US, Europe, China. They have to join now more so into Africa. And this through many modeling methodologies, creating that Africa is the source, Africa is the giver, not the beggar or receiver, and that Africa has everything in-house, not to wait for foreign aid, not even foreign direct investment. There is too much of human and wealth capital and resource capital. It just needs a new restructuring and also reinvigoration. So the idea is domestic wealth generation and what we call revamping, re-engineering of the economies of the nations of Africa, after which Africa will have a takeoff and it will go surpass even possibly China. And so that the people don't think, oh, okay, they did it, we cannot. No, everything is available in Africa, and the Future Trends Africa Manifesto delineates practical methodologies, modeling, and operations that will create the trillion-dollar wealth in many countries of Africa. I will not go in details. I will leave everyone to go and research on this weighty and very mighty document that is already changing the trajectory of the destinies of the African continent. On the oil and gas, I am the group that is called Future Trends Group. Our group has over 20 years of history in this field, and we have brought multiple investors, operators from global into China and from China international. So we have done many completed transactions, including with Qatar, with Oman, with Iran, with China, including upstream, including directional drilling and also horizontal drilling, including pipelines and equipment supply, but also the resources to get hands-on. Rather than talking general policies, we have to start clear operations. In the oil and gas, there are 5 subdivisions: upstream, midstream, downstream, equipment supply, and trading. We are active in all the 5, and we have global resources. I have been the chairman of at least 100 national oil conferences or summits or global oil summits, such as Terrapin, London Oil Week, the African continent oil, Mr. Duncan. And also I've been always the first keynote speaker and the chairman of these events, and Sheikh Zaki Yamani and Dr. Atiyah. So all the global top leaders in the industry, we are deeply in with them. And including our close friends are such as Omar Farouk, who is the secretary of the APPO, African Oil Producing Countries, as well as Mr. Al-Ghais, who is the Secretary General of OPEC itself, and also Olade's OPEC. So we have many players globally. We have access to investors. from China, US, Europe, and even Japan, Korea. Korea, I was the chairman of also their national energy summits. So with those backgrounds, we are hands-on. And once there are local players, partners, projects that are available for participation and on mandate and on a rigorous focus, we are able to bring the right players. And so that, so far as saying about specific players that we can bring in. So we work and we have in our network at least 20 IOCs and majors, at least 50 NOCs, and that includes their chairman, president, CEOs, and at least 70 countries, ministers of oil, all in one ready available basket. So access is no problem for us. So, but the viability of the projects, I call it the elements of government, local partner, policy, and project itself priority to us. If everything is on the receiving end is together, on the global end, we are quite able to organize both the funding and the operations and the technology. And also, we are able to supply technologies and equipment. So with that, because it's a summit for everyone, I won't take too long time. Final is the point of how Africa will soar and solve its problems. For God's sake, every nation of Africa already, of course, potentially richer than Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, and many other Arab countries. Saudi has only oil, no gas, no other mining, no other things. Qatar only gas, no oil, nothing else. Whereas you have oil, gas, all the lithium, whatever you call it, gold, diamonds, everything, including Nigeria itself, but of course, even Congo and others. So there is no more reason or excuse that Africa will not become #1 rank wealthy nation of the world. No more third world class citizen, not even second world class citizen. And within only 1 decade, Africa must hyper jump on its assets and on its monetization, digitalization, and also distribution of wealth to become a super wealthy nation. No more Vision 2063. Too far, too little. It must be 1 decade, 2033, because we started last year, and it must be a very noticeable hyper jump. The same way that I helped China from a very, very poor nation to become super rich nation. Now it's time for Africa. We are here, we are serious, we are moving everywhere, we are creating national legislation changes everywhere, and we will work with any stakeholder who is not wishy-washy, but very serious. And we have tons of global resources. At the moment, for example, I have brought #1 player in hydraulic power generation, and that is Carbon Electric Group. Now they are in Mozambique. For 10 days they were there, and now going to Malawi. So we have all the players from many countries, and at the same time, we are bringing them to the different destination countries. With that, thank you for the platform.